Nick Shirley is an absolute
Nick
boss.
Shirley.
You
We're
know,
wondering
he doesn't, he's not
$1.6
weighed
million
down
for
by
the Minnesota child care center.
concern over how he's perceived.
Are there
That's a
children that
quality
come
we
here?
all need to adopt. All right, today we're going to do a live reaction to the viral Nick Shirley fraud expose that has just absolutely blown up on Twitter and blown up nationally and internationally and really put a spotlight even further on the fraud that's taking place here in the state of Minnesota. My name is Walter Hudson. I'm a state representative here in Minnesota. I also happen to sit on the House Fraud Prevention and State Agency Oversight Committee. So I've had a front row seat to all of this for a very long time. And the value proposition here for you, if you've already seen this video, is getting my reaction. I have not watched it. I've watched clips, I've seen bits and pieces, but I have not sat down and watched the full 42-minute video. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to watch it. I'm going to provide you with my reactions that come from a perspective of, again, being on the ground, having a front row seat, and having anecdotal knowledge that perhaps is not included in Mr. Shirley's analysis. So let's get started.
Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going. What do you guys think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to happen.
Hold Governor Walz accountable for this.
What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids.
Answer the question. Are there children? There's no children inside this building. Potentially the largest fraud scandal in U.S. history is taking place in Minnesota, as literally billions of dollars have been funneled through Somali-ran fraudulent businesses. So much fraud, it could actually almost replace the entire GDP of Somalia. These fraudsters have worked hand in hand with the Minnesota government as they enabled billions of dollars to be given to fraudulent businesses underneath welfare purposes. Some of this money eventually landed in the hands of terrorist groups in Somalia like the Al-Shabaab, and others enriched themselves all at the US taxpayers' expense. And in this video we will break down all of the fraud from start to finish, from going to the fraudulent businesses and confronting the people who are making millions of dollars from the government. And we will also be confronting the incompetent government leaders who let this fraud happen. And to make this happen, I met up with a man who's been doing his own investigation for years now, as he has seen the fraud firsthand. His name is David. Let's get into this and be prepared to be shocked. How deep is this fraud?
So far, no lies detected.
It is far worse than anybody can imagine. You heard it's 7 to 10 billion and maybe more, and now the numbers have been revised and put out there publicly that they think it's more like 8 billion. How I got involved is that where my office is here in Minneapolis, I'm sort of in the heart of all of this fraud, and I would see these child care centers. I said, well, there aren't any kids there. It's the middle of the day, and all I see are a couple of guys standing out front smoking. And then I'd go by another daycare and I'd see the same thing. I said, well, where do these kids play? And so I started to go online and look, and I said, this place is licensed for 80 children. They had 0 children. Every time I went by there, they never had a single child there. Then I started to see all these transportation companies going around, and it was always a Somali driver. And I said, well, that's great. They're out there transportation, contributing, but they never had a passenger, never, ever once. And I said, well, what is all this transportation? What are they doing? So then I found out that in Minnesota, they have something called non-emergency medical transportation. So this is going to the dentist's office, therapy, whatever it might be. And I said, well, how many of these companies are there? And the research came back that there are 1,020 of them, and more than 800 of them are Somali-owned. Nobody from the state of Minnesota ever cross-checks to see if any rides were ever actually provided. All they did was write the check.
So right here we have all this paperwork. And how are you getting all this information about the fraud?
A lot of it is through my own research, and then I have some contacts at the Capitol going back many, many years. And so the data that I'm getting is 100% accurate, coming directly from research done by people at the state Capitol.
All this paperwork right here, what are we looking at?
The areas of fraud that I have numbers for are mostly related to child care. This is massive fraud that is beyond anyone's imagination, the scope. And so, for example, there's a child care not far from here in Minneapolis that has two child cares listed at the same address. And together, they're licensed supposedly for 120 children. I have never seen a single child there ever, and I've been by that place at least 100 times.
These Somalians, these groups are setting up these daycares, these child care centers, getting money from the government, but there's no kids.
No kids. Never had any of them. They're all fraught with violations, and even though they have these violations, they're still in operation and they're still getting money. And it's millions of dollars for every one of them every year.
And who's getting the money? And where are they getting the money from?
So we have a thing called CCAP. It's a blend of federal and state money. The bottom line is it's taxpayer money, so it's state money and it's federal money. And the problem is the people at the state of Minnesota are the ones writing the checks. This is kind of the maddening thing is you have daycare, so you have adult daycare, and then you have child care, and then you have health care. And a lot of these same names keep coming up on all of these different types of businesses. And then, of course, we have the transportation. A lot of those same names appear, a lot of the same addresses. There's one building that has 14 Somali healthcare companies at the same address. There's another building in St. Paul that has 22 Somali healthcare businesses at the same address.
And the government knows about this.
The government knows they're writing the checks. Yeah, the Democrats over there just writing the checks.
All right, so I'm going to pause a little bit here just to hammer home this point that they're making. That, we recently had a hearing of the House Fraud Prevention and State Agency Oversight Committee, and in fact, Nick Shirley was there. The footage that he has of him confronting a Democrat legislator comes from that hearing. I also had the opportunity to meet him as well, having no idea who he was or what he was doing or what he was going to use it for, and here we are. But the point I'm getting after here is that during that hearing, you saw, and maybe I'll mix it in here for you to take another look at, Chair Kristen Robbins laying out this case that we, our caucus, our staff, utilizing nothing but publicly available information, similar to this gentleman who's engaged in his own investigation based upon the information that he has available to him, what he can see with his eyes and what he can look up online, we're able to find a concerning list of red flags, things that properly ought to prompt somebody in a position of oversight, such as a state agency, to take a look at what's going on. And they haven't been doing that. And in response to that, the Democrats on the committee accused us of hiding this information from them. Now, the information is not hidden. It's readily available for literally anyone. This guy, David, apparently is able to look at it and draw reasonable deductions regarding what's going on. We were able to piece together with publicly available information these concerning red flags. And one of our legislative staffers very comically leaned over during their hearing and said something along the lines of, because they were talking about how the Democrats and the state agencies were talking about how we need to have some sort of advanced data analytics in order to detect all of this. And the staffer leans over and says, well, Excel has a sort function. And obviously what he means by that is that if you've got 14 companies with the same address, that's a pretty readily identifiable red flag. And so what have you done about it over the course of many, many years? And the answer is nothing.
Is that the Somali community is a very closed community. They will not speak to anyone outside the community and talk about what's going on within the community. They vote as a block. And so when you're a politician, you're saying, look, I've got 100,000 people in Minnesota that if I do something for the community, they're going to vote for me. And that's what it's all about, is getting the votes. And then the people here in Minnesota, you hear this term, Minnesota nice. I'm so sick of that term. The people here are so afraid of being called a racist or an Islamophobe, and they're afraid of their own shadow. And I don't understand. This is our future generations are going to have to pay for all this fraud, and They just want to bury their heads in the sand and go on and just not worry about it. Tim Walz saying there's organized crime in Minnesota. What did he do about it? Nothing. You got organized crime? What are you doing? This is the Minnesota law which mandates that anyone who knows of fraud and is a state employee must report that fraud. It's Minnesota Statute 3.971, Subdivision 9. Not only that, but Walz is also guilty of misconduct of a public employee. When I look at the world as a whole and I look at fraud, the Twin Cities is ground zero. The fraud is worse here than anywhere else ever in history. Anywhere.
We're going to go confront these people. We're going to go to these daycare centers. We're going to see what's actually happening.
Okay, so we have to be careful because these people are very violent. They're exceptionally violent.
Now, with all of David's evidence, we headed out to the streets of Minneapolis to see how much fraud we could uncover in one afternoon. Where are we going now?
We're going to a place called Mako Child Care, which actually has another child care registered at the same address called Mini Child Care Center.
So we should see lots of children if there's this child care center, especially if there's two.
The two of them combined are licensed for 120.
And how much money have these child care centers received?
None of those vans have moved in 6 months. None of them. In 2020, one of them received $1.3 million. In 2021, they got $987,000. In 2022, they got $714,000. That's the last I have for that one. And then the other one, $1.604 million in fiscal year 2025. Fiscal year 2024, they got about $800,000, and in fiscal year 2023, they got $904,059. This place right here. Yes.
We're outside of it.
Well, this is actually two daycares are registered here. One of them is Mako, which you see on this sign. The other one is Mini Child Care Center. And between the two of these child care centers, they're pulling in about $3 million a year. And there are no children. Every facility that you go to, the windows will be blocked out so you can't see in. There's nobody here. You won't see a single child at any of these facilities.
There are indeed no windows. All the windows are blacked out right here. All right, let's go in.
No.
And the child care center is locked. Should we ring the doorbell?
Yeah.
Try to get in, ring the doorbell. Nobody showed up. They're open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. it says here on their sign, yet there's absolutely nobody here. And this building here, right here, has generated millions of dollars, and it seems like business isn't even open right now, and it's a weekday. And if this was a daycare center, it wouldn't just be in some industrialized building. There would be maybe like a playground or something outside, or...
There's no play area for the kids. So where are the kids? Where's anybody? How can there be nobody here? And it's like this every single day. I've never seen a single child here. And
it's important too, because this is not difficult, right? You go to a legitimate daycare center anywhere in your community, you're going to see signs of activity. Certainly on a weekday, a working weekday where people are going to their jobs and their kids need to be watched. You're going to see parents going in and out. You're going to see kids going in and out. You're going to see a play area outside, usually. Something. I mean, this is winter here, but in the summer, you typically have to have something. I've never seen a daycare center that didn't have an outdoor playground. And then on top of that, the blacking out of the windows is just absurd. It's weird, right? Like, why would you do that? What benign and innocent reason do you have to black out the windows of your daycare center? Is that healthy for the kids to not be able to see outside? To not be able to get sunlight? Is that something that is fostering early childhood development? If so, you're going to have to show me the research that indicates it, because I don't see how this looks remotely like a legitimate daycare center.
9 years, I've never seen a single child at this building. Right there.
Oh, then now it looks like we already got the Somalis coming through.
Yeah, they're coming. The word's out.
Hello, is this your daycare?
No. Can you tell us why there are no children? Have you ever seen children at this child care center?
I'm not sure. I don't.
Doesn't know if she's ever seen a child here. All right, let's go to the next location. Now we're going to the next daycare center. How much money has this one generated?
This one, in fiscal year 2025, $1,042,059.
All right, let's just pause to reflect. Okay, so as he said earlier, the two daycare centers that share the same address there are collectively licensed for, I believe he said, 120 kids. You go down to New Horizons in St. Michael, right? Here close to me. You show up in the middle of the day. You're not even going to have to ask if there's any kids there because you're going to be able to see them, right? And if you weren't able to see them for some reason and you were to ask one of their staff, do you have kids here? They would probably look at you like you're crazy and then nod and be like, yeah, we're a child care center. Of course we have kids here, right? What explanation does anyone have for this gal walking into this business saying she doesn't know if she's seen any kids there? I can't think of a benign or innocent explanation.
In fiscal year 2024, $1,059,078, and in fiscal year 2023, $727,336.
This next one is literally one block away, and this one's also generated nearly $3 million in the past 3 years. Let's see if there's any children. Let's see if any of the buildings are open. Here we go. All right, we've arrived to ABC Learning Center. All the windows are blacked out. Let's see if anybody is here. This door is locked.
This facility is licensed for 40 children. 0 children. I've come by this place 100 times. I've never seen a child here, ever. The only thing I've ever seen is someone standing outside smoking.
What's crazy about this is that last daycare center is that green building right there. And the other daycare center right now is right here. These buildings should be operating as they're receiving literally millions of dollars. I knocked on the door, and to my surprise, somebody actually answered the door. Hello? Can we speak? I would like to check a child in the daycare.
Why?
Can I speak to a manager?
Hold up. Why? Okay. And again, I'll keep using New Horizons in St. Michael as an example. Can you imagine showing up to New Horizons and making contact with a staff member and opening with that line, I'd like to check in a child for daycare, and having them answer, why? Are you kidding me? I mean, it's what? So the real question here is, what's the answer to the question why that she's afraid of, right? Like, what reason would she have if she's a legitimate business, if she's operating a legitimate daycare? Why wouldn't the prospect of another customer be welcome enthusiastically, right? As opposed to questioning the motives of the person who's asking for the service. What motive are you concerned about? I've seen enough clips to tell you that I know why, and that we're all going to know why here pretty quick.
Where can I get paperwork to file for my son? I wanted to put my son Joey in daycare. And after a few questions, the lady went silent. Looks like little Joey Shirley ain't going to daycare here. And now where are we going?
Now we're going to Sweet Angel Child Care.
We're in the middle of a strip mall here inside of this neighborhood.
In fiscal year 2025, this facility, which says it's licensed for 74 kids, was paid $1.26 million in tax money. And there are no kids, and all the facilities are the same way, all of them.
Let's see if anyone opens.
Yeah, let's see.
Once again, I try to find a spot for my son Joey, and they would not open the door. I want to put my son Joey in daycare. Cause I need a spot to put my son Joey.
Why? Again.
Is this your daycare center?
No, I work there. What's happened?
I just want to put a child in daycare, but all the daycare centers seem to be closed. No one's opening the doors.
You work here?
I was, yeah. What's happened?
Where are the kids?
Yeah?
It says it's licensed for 74 children. Right here, state of Minnesota. Where are the kids? They got paid $1.26 million in fiscal year 2025. It says they have a capacity for 74 children.
When?
Where are the kids? Right here. State of Minnesota website. You work here and you don't know?
I don't know. I was there before. I don't know what's going on.
Were there any kids when you worked here?
Is there? Kids there? What's
How
up?
many?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah.
You worked here. Okay, well then you're not of any help.
Can I put my son in a daycare here?
No, I don't know.
Can I speak to someone?
No, I don't know.
No? Yeah, I would like to see if I can put my son Joey here.
Who's your son, Joey?
My son Joey. Can I check out daycare center?
No! You're a liar. I'm the owner.
Do you put your kid here in this daycare?
No.
There is one child in there. Yeah, I'd like to know if this is a legit business.
Me, I'm scared of you too. How come I explain everything?
You're scared of me?
Yeah.
Why?
Because of your curry.
Because of my color. You said you're scared of me because of my color. Does that make you a racist?
Yeah, no.
But
no,
you,
no.
you said you're scared of me because of my color.
I'm not saying you're racist.
You said you're scared of me because of my color. That makes you a racist. So right now,
This is my
they're all
tax
getting
money.
mad because he's showing the
I
paperwork
don't
of
know
this
that.
business being registered as a business. 74 children.
All right, so let's give these folks the maximum benefit of doubt, right? This is a legitimate daycare center. They got a bunch of kids in there. They're taking care of them real well on the taxpayer dime. What you just saw was racial discrimination, which is a offense under the law, both in Minnesota and federally, right? The idea that you're gonna, because of the color of a guy's skin, you're going to ask him why he needs your services. You're going to put up resistance. You're going to say no. You're going to say you're afraid to consider his child because of the color of his skin. Those are civil rights violations, again, both under the law in the state of Minnesota and certainly under federal law in the United States Constitution. So at best, even if this business is completely legitimate, which I have no reason to believe that it is, they are guilty of that civil rights violation.
No children. We saw one child when the lady opened up the door.
So
But now
where did
they're
this
all
money
getting
go?
mad.
What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent
ask
on?
the owner.
There aren't any kids.
Ask the owner and the kids.
Well, then why are you talking
That's
for
not
the
my
owner
proof.
if you're
That's
telling me
not
to
my
talk
proof.
to the owner?
I'm sorry. I'm not understand what you're talking about.
Do you have a child here?
No.
Does anybody?
No.
Where are the 74 kids? Did you lose them? Did you lose these kids? Do I need to call someone? Do I need to issue an Amber Alert for missing children? Are these children missing? It's not my business that children are missing. 74 infants and toddlers, preschool.
The proof's right there. There's no children anywhere.
It's from the state of Minnesota right here.
I think we're moving on to the next location. Have a good day. As we continue to show the blatant fraud that was taking place here in Minnesota, Somalis started following us around the city. And now we're being followed by the Somalis. This is another daycare center, absolutely no signage, and there's no footprints in the snow of children playing outside. $5 million within the past
5.9 million in 2 years. 5.9 million they received in 2 years. That facility right there.
And now we have a group of Somalis telling us in our vehicle right now. From this daycare center, we headed over to the infamous Quality Learning Center, which actually spells Quality Leering Center on the outside of their sign. That's how blatant this fraud is here at this daycare.
Don't open up!
So this is Quality Leering Center. I meant to say Quality Learning Center.
Don't open
They
up!
said they spelt learning wrong.
Don't open up!
How do you have
This is fascinating to me. Who is this woman and what is her motivation? Why is she shouting, "Don't open up" to these folks? Again, giving maximum benefit of doubt. If Quality Learning Center is a legitimate daycare operation, why is some white liberal outside warning them not to open up to guys who are, one, looking for daycare services, and two, just trying to verify that there are kids present? How is that a threat? What's the benign and innocent explanation for how what they're doing, asking for services as a member of the public, services that are paid for with taxpayer dollars, and also just trying to verify that those taxpayer dollars are actually being spent on their intended legislative purpose, which is to provide daycare for children, how is that something that would prompt somebody to shout, "Don't open up"? I can't come up with a reasonable answer, and I don't think anybody can. And this gal in particular, I mean, I don't know her story. I don't know who she is. But we can imply certain things from this action, right? Like, she's trying to protect whatever's going on inside of that facility. Which means she knows what's going on inside that facility, and what's not, and what's at stake.
Here, ma'am. I'm literally a YouTuber.
Don't open up!
Ma'am, what do you think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Don't open up! We have ice!
And what do you think about this place being licensed for 99 children
Don't open up!
and getting $4 million
Don't
over
open
the
up! It's ice!
$4 million in the last 2 years?
She really thinks these two guys are ice? I'm sorry. Okay, maybe earlier I was too generous in my evaluation of this gal. I'm thinking to myself, she's shouting, "Don't open up." That means she knows what's going on. She's trying to cover it up. Turns out she's actually just a blazing idiot who doesn't know how to identify the things happening in her world, which frankly fits better with the constituent profile.
Years.
Go away!
What do you think about that? Are you in
Go
favor?
away!
Are you in favor of that?
Go away!
You know
You're
where the-
not welcome here.
Are you-
Shame on you!
Are you in favor of $1.9
Shame
million
on you.
going
It's ice.
illegally,
Don't open up!
fraudulently to this business that has quality learning center but can't even spell learning right on the door?
Don't open up!
Ma'am, we are not ICE.
I don't care who you are, you don't belong here.
I belong here just like you belong here.
Don't open up! It's ice!
You do realize that there's supposed to be 99 children here at this building, but there's no one here. This is a child daycare
Minnesota
center.
says 99 children. Paid $1.9 million this year in CCAP funding. Do you know where the children are? Were they kidnapped? They run away? Where are the children? This is state of Minnesota. Right here.
And who are you?
My name's Nick Shirley, ma'am.
And who are you with?
Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley on YouTube.
Yeah, so who are you with here?
Oh, he's just been doing some research investigating the fraud that's taking place here in
Yeah,
Minnesota.
I'm with Nick Shirley.
This lady, she's calling us ICE. We're just trying to put law and order back in the streets of the United States. Get rid of all the fraud. Have you ever seen children at that daycare center right there?
Where?
Yeah, it's right there. It says the child, you've never seen daycare.
I haven't seen anybody in there.
We're gonna educate you on something. So what do you think about this daycare center? They spelt learning wrong. They've received over $1.9 million this year alone, and they're supposed to have 99 children here.
I don't see it.
99 children.
Have you ever seen any children here?
None. None at all. None.
This year they got 1.9 million. Last year they got 1.5 million of your tax money for 99 children. We just want to know, where are the kids?
Right.
Where are the children?
I don't see them. I've been here since 2017. I haven't seen anybody like
Never
that
seen
here.
a child here.
No, not at all.
And so you've
Many
never
years.
seen a child here for 8 years.
Nope, not at all.
And how does that make you feel knowing that this place is receiving
Disgusting.
$1.9 million?
It's disgusting. I mean,
All right, so I think the point that needs to be hammered at this juncture is what is it that we're looking at here? We're looking at a kid. I don't know how old he is. I'm significantly older. I'm pretty sure of that. So that means I get to call him a kid. A kid who's taken the initiative to go out in the field and just observe and ask rational questions about what it is that he's seeing and how it measures up to what we know in terms of the amount of money that's been directed to this place. He's talking to people on the street, people who are giving him eyewitness testimony. I've been here since 2017. I've never seen a kid around here. We have thousands of state agency employees. They can't do this? And by the way, and it was mentioned earlier, these sites do have documented violations by the state, which means somebody has been out to these places to document those violations. So whoever that somebody is didn't talk to this guy, didn't ask any questions, didn't raise any concerns or red flag. Like, they're still getting money. When I talk about benefit of the doubt, the benefit is proportional to the doubt. And the doubt is rapidly shrinking.
What the hell? They stealing the money. That's a federal grant, too. That's, if they get caught for that's a federal offense. I know, I studied law.
And do you think Tim Walz should go to jail for all the fraud that he's enabled here in his state?
That's him doing this? Well, heck yeah. He's got to be held accountable for this. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason what's going on here. It's simple. It's nothing there. It's a parking lot.
And look, they even spelled learning wrong on their sign for a place that's supposed to be educating children.
That's crazy. I mean, who runs it? Who supposedly runs it?
Somalians.
Oh, my God.
By the way, we're going to have some merch on my channel here. You can have your very own mug or t-shirt with Quality Learning Center all over it.
No, not at all.
So this daycare center is literally just a place to traffic money. $1.9 million just this year alone. And this guy's been living here for 8 years and has never seen a single child walk through those doors. There's no windows either.
No.
And the only window they do have, the door, is blacked out.
Yep, I see that. I've never seen anybody go in there.
Within just a few hours, we nearly approached $20 million in fraud, and we headed over to George Floyd's neighborhood to expose more of the fraud taking place.
This place is called Future Leaders Early Learning Center, and it's licensed for 90 children. And in fiscal year 2025, they received $3.6 million. In fiscal year 2024, they received $3 million. So in 2 years, they got $6.67 million, claiming they have 90 children every day of the week, 5 days a week. So let's
these
find
people
out.
are making just about more money than NBA athletes.
And we don't even know if they're paying taxes, but we don't know where this money is going. Is it going to terrorism? Where is it going? But it's theft, it's fraud, and the reason I'm involved is I want it to stop. I care about Minnesota. I'm doing this for the people of Minnesota. I don't make a dime off all this time I've spent on this. I put my life at risk several times, but I'm determined to see this through and to correct what is wrong, what is evil.
Here at Future Leaders Early Learning Center, this building received over $3 million. Hello, how are you? I would like to see if I could bring little Joey, my son little Joey here. Is there paperwork or can I check out the daycare? No? Why can't I check out the daycare? Okay, but if I can't get paperwork or anything to submit my son little Joey to come in here to daycare? We'd really like to put Joey in this daycare. We've heard great things.
Business card?
No, I would like your business card actually.
We'll talk to you later.
Okay, can I speak with somebody? Does this look like somebody who has ever fielded an actual legitimate inquiry into being a customer of this business?
Would my son little Joey have friends to play with here? No. No friends for little Joey.
Interesting.
Dang it. Well, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
So, little Joey would not be accepted to that daycare.
Joey's still homeless.
Joey's still looking for daycare. And because little Joey couldn't get into a daycare, we went to an autism center, as they have been popping up everywhere as a rise of autism has occurred here in Minnesota because of the government funds that they are receiving. I tried to check my son Joey into an autism center. We've been going to a lot of these daycare centers. We're trying to find a spot for our little boy Joey, but we thought maybe we could check him into the autism center. Because none of the daycare centers are open. Yeah, and how many kids do you guys have at this autism center?
About can't give you a number now.
Like more than 5?
Probably, yeah.
Probably, so you don't really know?
Yeah.
What do you guys think about like the fraud that's been labeled on the autism centers here? What do you guys do think about the fraud, or how come the autism centers are popping up?
I can't answer.
What news? Are you a news reporter?
My name's Nick. We're doing a little documentary trying to find little Joey a spot to put himself in one of these centers here, because there's
So are you asking us about
the fraud?
frauds and stuff like that?
Yeah, because we want to make sure we're going to legit business if we're going to bring our little boy Joey here.
This is not a Joey spot. Yeah. But that's our number on the other building. But this is we can't let you guys use. So.
Okay, thank you. So once again, little Joey, he can't even go to daycare, and now they won't even accept him if he has autism.
And again, no kids. Couldn't tell you how many kids they serve.
After being able to provide no evidence of them actually being an autism center in a place where a child could go, they shut the door and we headed to the next fraudulent daycare center that was just around the corner.
We're on to the next location. We're still trying to find little Joey a place to go to get some daycare.
So where we're going now is a place called Super Kids Daycare Center. Interestingly, this daycare center was shut down when it was called Creative Minds Daycare, and it had received $2.45 million this fiscal year, 2025. They had to shut down because there were so many violations, and they went and they just reopened under a new license, and they renamed the center Super Kids Daycare Center, LLC.
So they got shut down, then started another one.
Literally the next day.
Yeah, and this is something that we see again and again and again, where places get shut down or their funding gets cut off or whatever their story is, and then the same people pop up under a new name and just keep doing business. And somehow our state agencies can't put 2 and 2 together. They can't figure out that they're being scammed by the same person. Like, what kind of checks are they doing? What kind of quality control is there?
Creative Minds Daycare, $2.45 million got sent to this daycare center. We have empty parking lot. We do have a bus here. This is different. We'll see if we see anybody.
I knocked on the door, absolutely nobody was inside, and once again, no children could be heard anywhere.
So David, once again, another child daycare center. We have a bus out here. No one's inside. Licensed for over 50 kids. No children anywhere, but yet millions of dollars every single year.
So the sign says Creative Minds Daycare. They got in so much trouble, they had so many violations that they had to shut down, and they reopened the next day under Super Kids Daycare Center. You see 3801 Portland, 3801 Portland, which is where we are.
So that's fraud right there alone.
Millions and millions of dollars, and again, the kids are missing. Where are the kids?
You'd think
And again, like, how is that not a red flag? Like, you had to shut down a business at one address, and then another business doing the same thing, run by the same people, pops up immediately at the same address. And that doesn't set off any red flags. You don't respond to that as a state agency responsible for overseeing the dispensation of these taxpayer dollars. There's only 2 possible reasons for that. Only 2. 1, you're incompetent to the point of comic absurdity and have no business collecting a state-funded paycheck. Or you're in on it. You want it to continue. You're complicit.
if they had the same address, that whoever's inside or working at the Capitol here inside of Minnesota would just say, oh, maybe that's a red flag.
They just write the check. Human Services, they got to clean out the whole bunch. They're the ones who enabled this fraud. How can you not look and say, wait a minute, these two are registered at the same address?
On top of all of the child care centers, that's just only a small piece of the fraud. What other fraud are they committing here in Minnesota?
So another major piece of the fraud is the home health care industry. Where we're going now is a building that has 14 Somali-owned home health care companies in the same building.
14 of the same healthcare companies in one building.
14 home health care companies with different names in the same building.
How bad has Tim Waltz managed the budget here inside of Minnesota?
So the last biennium, we had an $18 billion surplus. This biennium, we have a $6 billion deficit. That's a $24 billion swing in one biennium. How in the world can you burn through $24 billion in 2 years? This is how, right here. This is a huge part of it.
And so would you say a lot of that is fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Absolutely. I would say better than 90% of it is absolute outright fraud.
And a large percentage of this fraud is from these healthcare companies that are charging the state millions of dollars while they actually aren't providing anything. In fact, the FBI just did a raid a few days ago on a building similar to the one we are about to enter. Inside of this building, there were 14 of nearly the exact same businesses offering the exact same services.
Right here, you have a list of all of the healthcare companies. Loads of them right here. We want healthcare.
No, it's okay.
Yes, we'd like to speak about getting healthcare here.
No.
Why can't I get healthcare here?
No, wait.
Warning, you are under video surveillance. No trespassing, security, armed.
When's the last time you saw a sign like that at your medical clinic? When's the last time you walked into, I mean, one of the things that Democrats always talk about is that everybody has a right to health care, right? Universal health care, that's one of their virtues. That's one of their bedrock planks on their platform. Or you're telling me somebody can walk in to a business that's receiving taxpayer money and say, I want health care, and the proprietors could just turn them away and say no? Pretty sure they can't. So again, what's really going on here? And I ask rhetorically because we all know.
This is the strangest place I've ever been to get healthcare. Just a bunch of different places. Healthcare here, healthcare right here, another healthcare company right here. There are 3 healthcare companies inside of this building right here in this room of 7C. Now we have another Helping Hands, Home Care LLC, another healthcare company. Present Help right here. We're looking for the best rates of healthcare here inside this building because we have so many options. Who can we talk about getting the best healthcare?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
We will not.
If I mean, can you imagine? You're in the healthcare business, and somebody says, "Where can I get the best healthcare?" And you say, "I don't know."
Every year, I would say 50 to 60 million at least.
And finally, we were accepted into one of the daycare centers, and they actually took down our information to give us a rate. However, when we left, we were then met with the police.
We received a complaint that gentlemen matching your description were in this building harassing the individuals who stay here.
Oh, we're checking out the rates for healthcare. Because there's 14 healthcare companies inside this building, so.
Okay.
Well, that's not what he said. He said there's 14.
What kind of a business calls the cops on their customers for asking for services?
No, we're just checking.
No, this is a area that we're allowed to enforce trespassing ordinance. Is there any other reason that you guys are here?
Well, we were checking rates.
No, he's not.
We were checking rates. We asked for rates.
No, you're not.
Okay. I'm gonna have, if you guys are all good, we're gonna step outside and we can continue this conversation.
All right, let's leave. So, all right, we're getting escorted out right now. The police have arrived. We were checking out the rates, seeing what was happening inside this building. No one would really speak with us. We did go inside the one daycare center, and she actually did give us rates for childcare. Much respect to that lady. What's the problem, officer?
Well, so again, we've been getting reports from multiple individuals that you guys were harassing individuals who work here. At the end of the day, this is private property, and it's one that people are allowed to ask you to leave, and it's also one the Minneapolis Police Department is allowed to enforce trespassing ordinance at this address.
Yeah.
So
as we got escorted out of this building, the Somalis filmed us as we left, and we headed over to the next building that had 22 of the same home health care providers operating from inside of the building.
Right here you have.
All right, so let's talk about the police response here, because I think it's important, right? First of all, I don't know how, and again, trying to give the maximum benefit of doubt here. I don't know how, as a law enforcement officer, you respond to a call alleging harassment and then don't actually establish that any harassment has taken place. You're going to trespass these guys when they're engaging with a business seeking the services that that business provides. You ought to have the basic civil rights knowledge that being told to leave a healthcare provider in a discriminatory fashion is against the law, and your job is to uphold the law. So what is it that the MPD is actually protecting here? You tell me they don't know? They're not familiar with these properties? They don't have any knowledge of what takes place inside? They haven't observed what the neighbors around have observed, which is that there's never any kids here? Stinks to high heaven. And this building that he's going into right now is a building I'm very familiar with in St. Paul. Used to have a fantastic Vietnamese restaurant back in the day, but as you're likely about to see, it's gone downhill.
Multicultural home care. And right here it says it's open, but can't even get in. Another Reliance Recovery Center. Mercy and Grace Care, Inc. Right here you have Den Den Eritrean Youth Development Association of Minnesota. Another child care center. Welcome to Bright Beginning Center. But what do you guys think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Sorry. No comments. Can I please?
Right here you have Serenity Quality Care. All of these businesses are literally the same type of business, providing the same service in the same building. Another Convenience Home Healthcare Aid Inc. and Child Friendly Space. All these companies get money from the government. Why would you have the same company essentially inside of the same building, door to door? Right here, Queenly Home Healthcare. It just does not make sense. If you're trying to operate a business, you'd want to have less competition. But here, they have all of their competition right next door. We're wondering,
because they're not competing, because it's not a competition.
Why is there so many of the same companies inside of this same building?
No, I don't know that.
What do you think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
I don't have any idea about that fraud, okay? That's it.
What do you think about the news articles and what's being spread on the news about the fraud?
Right now, you are doing something wrong.
I'm just asking you about the fraud.
Don't ask me that question again.
Okay. Who can I speak to?
Yeah?
Who can I speak to? Okay. As soon as you confront about the fraud, they get angry. When these people have these home healthcare companies, you're seeing them everywhere inside this building. What kind of fraud are they committing?
So there's false documentation being submitted to the state of Minnesota for services never provided. They're having forms signed in advance for services that were then never rendered. As far as a year or 2 years in advance, they'll have someone sign these forms at one sitting, and then they just file those with the state of Minnesota, and nobody from the state of Minnesota bothers to check that those services were ever provided.
So they're essentially just using people saying that they had these services provided months or even years ago, then filing the paperwork and then receiving money from the government.
Right, and the Somali community is a very closed community, so everybody's in on it, and they don't want to talk, as you can see.
And for this building, I'm going to give an estimate of around $30 million for how much fraud is taking place. That is a very low estimate. However, still a lot of money in fraud.
And do you think there is fraud taking place here?
I don't know. Yeah.
Do you have any idea what any of these businesses are doing?
I never ask.
And now, with upwards of $100 million in fraud, we headed to one more daycare. And this one gets a little spicy as we get chased out at the very end. And after this, we'll be heading to the state capitol to confront the incompetent government leaders who have enabled this fraud to happen.
And I knew this video was going to be super dangerous to film because of obviously how hostile it is, and as we are exposing legit fraud happening. I did get security for this video, and I was able to do it through the Black Line Guardian. And if you guys want to help fund my security in the future, you can go down to the link down below. They're not paying me to say any of this. They came and decided to help me out for this video. So you can go to Black Line Guardian, the link's down below, and click Guardian for Nick, and those funds will directly go to my security in future videos as we are exposing lots of things happening, and especially with this fraud. Like I said, they're not sponsoring this video. I'm just giving them a shout out because of how they helped me. So go down to the link down below, click Guardian for Nick, and let's keep going and and now we're going to the next location. Now,
I'll try to
this
find
child
that link
daycare
and
center
put
is
it in my
different than
description
all
as
the others
well.
we've been to. Tell us about this one.
This one is different because, according to the state of Minnesota, this 312 West Lake Street houses not one, not two, but 3 child care centers and is licensed to hold 102 children, and in fiscal year 2025 was paid $2.66 million by the state of Minnesota.
And this is the building right here. So this building alone made $2.6 million. Let's see if anybody's inside. Now we're inside of the building where there's apparently 4 child care centers.
We met this lady and we followed her to the back of the building where the daycare was supposedly at.
So right here we have 2 child daycare centers. We have the Minnesota Child Care Center, and then we also have Nuna. Between the two, $2.66 million. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Why are you recording?
Yes. We would like to know.
Well, it says we're trying to figure out 102 children. Is that for this facility?
What is the name?
It's from the state of Minnesota website. It says you have 102 children here in your child care.
Which child care name is a lot of
Minnesota Child Care right here. It's from the state of Minnesota's website. We're just wondering where the children are.
Where the children are?
Yeah, where are the children? It says you have 102 children here, and you got $2.66 million this year in funding.
So, I mean, this reminds me of Feeding Our Future. You know, you go back to Feeding Our Future, which, you know, there's no questioning that was a fraud scheme, right? Like, despite all of the attempts from Democrats to try to obfuscate about what's going on right now, what we saw under Feeding Our Future was just brazen audacity. You're going to take the money from the state, not feed kids, and instead go on vacations, buy luxury homes, transport the money to Somalia or whatever it is that they were doing with it. And there didn't seem to be any concern about getting caught. And similarly here, it's every person they've talked to throughout this video, it's like they never even conceived of the possibility that somebody would come along and ask them what they're doing or ask to see the kids. Isn't that what the state agencies are supposed to be doing? If these folks clearly don't expect to ever be questioned, what does that say about whether or not the state agencies actually ever have?
And $2.5 million last year. We're just wondering where the kids are.
And who are you?
My name's Nick Shirley.
Nick Shirley.
And where are you? Which department?
Oh, we are from ourselves.
Yeah.
Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going.
That is harassment. It's harassment?
Look at that. Shut us down. Where are the children at? No children inside of this daycare center. And look, at this daycare center right here, no children inside of this daycare center. But between those buildings, over $2.6 million. We were just curious, where are the children at? Do you know where the children are at? Where are the children at in these daycare centers?
I don't care.
How come these child care centers have no
Doesn't
children?
care. Okay.
No.
There's $2.6 million inside these businesses that were given by the government, but there's no children to be seen anywhere. People deserve to know where their taxes are going. If these companies and these daycare centers are making upwards of $2.6 million and there's no children to be seen anywhere, something fraudulent is happening. And that is not make you racist, Islamophobic. This is just the truth of what's happening here in Minnesota. If there's a bunch of white people doing the same thing, we'd be talking about the same issue. This is just fraud at unprecedented levels here inside Minnesota. It's actually very concerning. Where are the children at inside of these buildings? They're nowhere to be seen. Millions of dollars are being sent into these daycare centers all across Minnesota, and there's not a child to be seen anywhere. Here's another daycare center inside this same building.
We don't want you to be videotaping anything.
Where why is
all
that?
the money going for if there's no children at these daycare centers?
Sir,
Yes.
I told you, please leave.
Yes, we have a question though. Where is the children at these daycare centers if there's millions of dollars?
Ask the local government, yeah.
Oh, we've asked. We have the paper here. So we're wondering where the money and where the children are at. We have the paper right here. Come here.
Who are you
What
first?
are they
Nick
concerned
Shirley.
about? Like, again, going back to the question of what is the benign and innocent explanation, if we're going to provide the maximum benefit of doubt, what is the concern about the questions being asked that prompts somebody to say, you're not welcome here, you need to leave? If you're on the up and up, if you're running an actual childcare center, daycare center, and you're actually providing services, why would you expel somebody who's asking these basic, simple operational questions? Where are the kids? And again, what it does is it transcends the capacity of us to provide benefit of doubt, because there is no reasonable explanation for why people would behave this way when questioned in this manner if they're engaged in legitimate business. And we all know it. Every single person watching this knows it, whether they're willing to admit it or not. This is an indictment. It's an indictment of Minnesota Democrats. And I don't say that just as a partisan, which I am. I confess to that. I would much prefer to have Republicans in charge of this state. But not just because, yay, Team Red, but because this cartel has been facilitated by one-party control statewide for 20 years. And it is not going to end until they lose power.
Don't have any permission to record me, period.
Can we talk
you
outside?
Don't have permission to record.
She doesn't have permission to record me.
You cannot stop people on the street and question them.
We can ask.
You don't have any permission.
Where are the children?
I will sue you. You don't have any permission. We have nothing to do with this. You understand?
Then are there
So leave. Please leave.
Are there children here?
Please leave.
Where are the children? $2.6 million for a daycare center.
Yeah. So how can you say that he doesn't have permission to record you and then you're going to record him?
What's happening here then?
I said leave.
We're wondering what's happening.
I mean,
we are nothing to do with it. We're common people walking. And
yes.
You are.
We're not accusing you. We're asking where the children are at.
Don't ask me anything.
We're not accusing you. We're asking the daycare centers.
I am not going to answer. And you have.
Where are the children at?
Leave.
We just want to know where are the children.
Who you work for?
Nick Shirley is an absolute boss.
Nick Shirley.
What are you recording?
You know, he's not weighed down by concern over how he's perceived. That's a quality we all need to adopt.
Answer the question. Are there children? There's no children inside this building.
I don't know who you're talking to.
That's just a simple question. Where are the children at? David, they won't even answer. We asked him, plain and simple, where are the children? Do children come here?
This is why I've had my life. I've been attacked twice. Once with a knife, and the other time I was jumped last Saturday by 3 Somali men simply for asking questions about what was going on. And they're very, very violent people. They do not like this fraud to be exposed.
After giving this man plenty of opportunities to answer the simple question, where are the children, he called the cops on us and we headed to the state capitol where they're having a meeting about the fraud to confront the state representatives and people in the government who have enabled and let this fraud happen. Inside of this committee, a Republican representative showed charts showing exactly how this fraud has been committed and who is profiting and connecting all the dots. And while the Democrat representatives looked into the abyss, one of them spoke about how none of this is building trust and how this is a nonpartisan issue, so I went and confronted her after that.
Yes, but he has some very valid questions to ask about what's going on here in Minnesota. And do you think this fraud
I don't know who
crosses...
you are.
My name's Nick Shirley. Do you think this fraud is Republican or Democrat, or just facts that fraud is happening?
All right, so before we go any further... So this is the House Fraud Prevention and State Agency Oversight Committee on which I sit. The Democrat representative who Nick is engaging with right now is my colleague, Representative Emma Greenman. And in her defense, all right, in her defense, my perception, my personal perception, is that she legitimately believes that the current structure of how we're funding these programs and how we're just handing cash over to private businesses and nonprofits is not the way that we ought to be operating these programs. Now, again, my perception, I think that she believes that the services could be better administered by actual state agencies and state employees, that we should get private operations out of it. And I think she believes that for ideological reasons, which is fine, right? That's her position. The point I'm trying to get after here and hit is that in spite of the fact that the Minnesota Democrats are 100% responsible for setting up this system and allowing it to get to the point where it has gotten, not every single representative or senator who has a D after their name is in on the con. And again, that's just my perception. I think there's a lot of them who they're not gonna, like we're about to see, no doubt, they're not gonna turn on the administration. They're not going to turn on Governor Walz because of party loyalty, partisan loyalty. But if you were to actually sit down with them, across a table in private and talk about the system, they would want to see change from where it's currently at. Change that could potentially reduce or eliminate this fraud. And so I'm trying to be gracious here that there are some Democrats who actually want to do something, which is all the more of an indictment against the Walz administration. In fact, the Democrat-led Senate in this state passed 60-7. There's 34 Democrats and 33 Republicans in the Minnesota State Senate. 60-7, they passed a bill to create an independent Office of Inspector General that had police power, that could actually take action against the state agencies and against anybody who's involved in this fraud. That passed the Senate, and then every single House Republican, including Representative Greenman, voted against it. Why? Well, somebody must have sent the signal that this wasn't going to pass muster. They weren't going to abide having an independent inspector general who's not under the direct control, the direct thumb of Governor Tim Walz looking into this fraud. So it's a mixed bag, right? Like, I'm trying to be gracious. I'm trying to tell you that there are Democrats who are interested in tackling this. Clearly in the Senate, they passed that bill, right? At the same time, there's a limit to how much they're willing to take action based upon partisan political concerns.
Because because that's what I heard you talking about.
I know what I said is that
because
what we're talking about
we want to build trust, but fraud is fraud. So why should we be enabling fraud to happen here?
No, I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to happen.
Hold Governor Walz accountable for this.
Okay, sir.
No. This is not.
Sir.
When are you going to hold Governor Walz? No. She is a representative for the state of Minnesota. Yes or no?
Excuse me?
Yes. Are you?
If you're going to talk to me like that.
Are you going to say I'm a disability advocate?
I heard you, and
get
you got a chance
overstimulated.
to testify.
Thank you for testifying today.
No.
Ma'am, the facts are the facts that fraud is happening.
Handler providing interference.
Issue. How come you think fraud has been able to happen so much underneath?
I think if you've been listening to our hearings, we've had now 10 hearings on this. And so there's really good data from the
so many hearings.
Work within the administration as well as who
they're so exhausted by the hearings.
I think what you heard today is that the Republicans who control this committee are not actually interested in solving fraud. What they're interested in is telling a story.
This fraud has happened underneath Democrat leader Tim Walz.
There has been Medicaid fraud across the country under Democrats and Republicans. There's fraud within the Trump administration.
Nothing to see here.
Private providers have made government a mark. And so every person running government, Democrats or Republicans, are dealing with the issue of how to keep fraudsters out of our public payment. We're also dealing with veterans. We're dealing with consumers. I hope you're looking at that. If you look at United Health, currently is being charged with defrauding Medicare. You know who runs Medicare? President
Lady,
Trump.
okay.
Medicaid fraud is a
Emma.
50-state issue.
Emma, you do realize that your governor just contracted with a subsidiary slash associate, I don't know the exact terminology, but basically just contracted with United Health to audit this fraud. Centra, I think is the name. Wow. I do feel I feel sympathy. I feel a little bit sorry for her because again, I know she's a true believer. I know she believes the things that she's saying. But my God, do you understand the damage you're doing by by calling out United Healthcare when your governor hired United Healthcare to audit these fraudulent programs? Dear God.
And so, again, it is not a partisan issue. There are Democrats and Republicans who are sitting in that committee talking about it. But what you did here was the Republican chair say she's not turning information over to the one person in government who can stop payment. And I hope you print that.
Thank you for coming today.
Okay.
Crazy.
Well,
Is
you
this
saw what
really
happened
the
there?
state of Minnesota that we live in? And these politicians are just walking off, thinking it's okay Tuesday, and they want to go visit the Trump. They want to blame the Trump administration. We have Democrats blaming ICE. I'm tired. My people are suffering. I'm scared for my little brother. My people are suffering, and these people just walk off. We have a governor who fucking doesn't care. How many more people are gonna freaking die? How many more people are gonna go homeless? And how many more people are gonna be trafficked in our freaking system?
That guy testified at our committee hearing that day, and he's on the autism spectrum. So is my eldest son. I recognize the processing, like the mental processing of the world and the sense of injustice. And sometimes it comes across as exaggerated, but those feelings are sincere. I can tell you, my son, he often expresses himself in overly theatrical ways, but he means what he says. And it's a sincere belief. And it's not to be dismissed. So, I don't know how to conclude this, how to wrap this up. Again, no lies detected in any of this, right? You're seeing the raw, on the street truth of what's taking place here in the state of Minnesota. And it's fascinating, the Democrat response, and you heard it there from Emma Greenman at the end, where she tries to turn it back around on us as Republicans of, oh, you're just trying to tell a story. Yeah, you're goddamn right. We're trying to tell the story of what's actually freaking happening and how it impacts both the Minnesota taxpayer and people like that gentleman who aren't receiving the services that our tax dollars are appropriated in order to provide. That's a story worthy of being told. And telling stories is really all we can do at this point because you're in charge of everything else. We got a tied house here in Minnesota, 67 to 67, Republicans and Democrats. The only way we can do anything is if at least one Democrat comes over, crosses the line, and makes something happen. That's why the independent OIG bill didn't pass, because all of you circled the wagons, decided to take orders from on high and prevent a meaningful reform that would have actually addressed these issues. So, I mean, when we don't have the ability to take action because you control the governor's office, the Senate, and we have a tie in the House, then yeah, telling stories, that's literally all we have the ability to do. Unless one of you are willing to pony up and ante up to make a real difference. That's the situation we're in until the next election. Take care. If this put words to something you've been thinking, hit like. Subscribe for clear, unfiltered analysis several times a week. See you next time.